What is up, my friends, my Canadian cousins, my neighbors north of the border, those whom I appreciate very, very much. So this is actually an unplanned. I have so many reaction videos on my list, things that I've thought to do, things that you've requested, and the list is just growing and growing, which is wonderful. I'm very eager to get to all of it, but just maybe earlier this morning or yesterday, subscriber, Sir David of Tor, mentioned to me that there was a special on CTV News about the cutting down of a Christmas tree in Christmas Island, Nova Scotia, for the purposes of going to Boston. And if those of you haven't watched my prior video on the Halifax explosion, and those of you who are Canadian probably know very well what that incident is, and I will drop a link in the description to the video in case you're interested in watching it. For my non-Canadian watchers, the Halifax explosion, in a nutshell, was an extremely terrible disaster that took place in 1917 in Halifax Harbor in World War I, in which a ship exploded full of munitions, creating the largest non-nuclear explosion in the history of humankind. So many people died in the immediate explosion, which, you know, if you watch the video, you can see the utter devastation. I mean, it kind of looks like Hiroshima or Nagasaki in what it did to the buildings, but it also created a tsunami that killed many people, rained down hellfire of debris and material that killed people, created fires all over the city that killed people. And at the end of the day, to compound all of that, there was a massive snowstorm. I mean, just a horrible, harrowing disaster, which highlighted some heroism in the midst of all that chaos and carnage. And one person who personifies probably many acts of heroism that day is a guy I'll never forget, Vince Coleman, who was a telegraph operator and was forewarned that the ship carrying the munitions was on fire and was going to explode, and began to run for safety and probably would have made it, but something clicked in his mind that a train full of 300 people were scheduled to arrive right in the midst of the blast zone. And he went back to his station to telegraph to stop the train, knowing that he was going to die. And we know that he knew it because of his telegraph message, which, you know, still makes me emotional to think of it. He said, you know, in paraphrasing, to stop the train, ship afire in the harbor will explode, and said something to the effect that this is my last message, boys, and goodbye. And he died in the explosion. Not only did he save the 300 people on that train, but it caused other trains to be stopped to come into Halifax. And not only that, it got the rescue effort underway faster than it would have. And so, you know, the exact number of people that one individual saved that day is unknowable, but it is a lot. In the midst of all of that, the city of Boston provided relief to Halifax. And I understand that there's a historical connection going back between Boston and Halifax, you know, that goes back to colonial times. There's been close trade relations, etc. And so every year, to commemorate what Boston did for Halifax, to this day, for the last 100 years, Halifax provides Boston with a Christmas tree that is raised in Boston Common. And so Sir David of Tor provided me with information about this CTV News special, The Atlantic, which cuts down the Boston Christmas tree on Christmas Island this year. So in honor of that, I am going to react to that piece very quickly today, and hope you enjoy it. And I will. And guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, drop a comment below if you're so inclined, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thank you.
We wrap up our show in the perfect location to watch a Christmas tree come down.
They were feeling festive in Christmas Island today, where CTV's Ryan McDonald shows us the tree for Boston was sent off with a whole lot of love.
Christmas Island is a community of fewer than 300 people, and it's probably safe to say its population at least doubled today.
It's a beautiful day, and it's very exciting.
That's an understatement. To have the tree for Boston come from a place so perfectly named is like something out of a Hallmark movie.
This is today.
It sure is. And how do you get to Christmas Island? I assume there's some kind of ferry from mainland Nova Scotia?
Today's mail, we have hundreds of letters we've got to postmark.
Beantowners may not know it, but this place is kind of a big deal this time of year. For years, Christmas mail has come here from all over the world just to get this festive stamp.
Mom had a special place in her heart for Christmas Island all her life.
The story behind the story is even better. This year's tree was donated by the Townsend family. The mother, Blanche, who passed away years back, would always say that this evergreen in their yard would make the perfect Christmas tree.
Sure will. Look at that thing.
She would be over
It's
the
gonna
moon,
look great on Boston Common.
we believe, to see her dream of this beautiful and very special white spruce being chosen to grace Boston as its Christmas tree.
Another of Blanche's daughters, singer-songwriter Carmen Townsend, christened the event with a song she wrote especially for it. Singing backup were kids she teaches at nearby Rankin School.
She would be so happy, and she would have loved to have heard the kids singing along to the song, and she would have just loved every second of this.
I'm only pausing because I noticed a few seconds back they mentioned those kids were from Rankin School, and she teaches there. Is that the Rankin family folk singers from Nova Scotia? That I learned about them very recently by you great people in some of your comments, and I do want to get to reaction video about them. So is that who this school's named after?
The man tasked with cutting the tree says he knows that when it's all lit up in Boston, it represents us.
The whole province is behind it. Every Nova Scotian is behind the Boston tree, and we thank the people of Boston for what they did for us, and we just spread our hospitality. It's what we do as Nova Scotians, so thank you, Boston.
Then, the moment everyone was waiting for.
That gentleman was wearing a Boston Bruins hockey jersey, Boston Red Sox cap, and of course I'm from New York and we have a huge sport rivalry with Boston. But my oldest daughter lives in Boston, and I've loved the city ever since I was a little kid, and so I do have a special connection to that city. I think this is a wonderful tribute.
Now that it's down, the next step for this tree is to be hauled onto the back of that truck behind me. From Christmas Island with love, final destination, the Boston Common. Seeing the tree ever so carefully placed on board was a spectacle in itself.
Happy holidays to you and yours from Christmas Island, Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, and we'll be seeing you soon, Boston.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Christmas Island, Nova Scotia.
I mean, how sweet is that?
Yeah, great to see Carmen Townsend performing there. We've had a lot of great, Tree for Boston stories over the years. I don't know if we had any better than that one.
Oh, it's pretty special for sure.
Well, my friends, and David specifically, thank you for cluing me into that video. Especially because I will be in about a month's time traveling to Boston and spending a little holiday time up there. It's a great city around the holidays, but ultimately to pick up my daughter, bring her home for the holidays. And I do absolutely plan to stop in Boston Commons and see that very Christmas tree. And so not only will I have the perspective of knowing what it is in tribute to and thanks to, I actually got to see it cut down in the ceremony that surrounds that, and so it will give me a new perspective, and I certainly will tell my daughter all about it. Hopefully I'll maybe record something while I'm there doing that to post to all of you guys if you'd like me to do that. I just think that this is a wonderful tribute. I've done videos about Canada's reaction after 9/11, and it was really wonderful to see what Boston did for Canada and Nova Scotia and the city of Halifax, and specifically 100 years ago, such that it is still remembered in this very beautiful way. And I think it's just, these instances are just wonderful tributes to our relationship, which I hope never, as President Kennedy said when he spoke in Canada in the 1960s, let no man put asunder this relationship. All right, my friends, I shall see you soon, and more content about Canada to come this weekend. Take care.